right.
I hit recorded drop, you can't ignore it. I'm transforming now these cars and planes, I'm always boarding. Just out touring down in Charlotte like I play for Hornets.
What up? What up? Good Tuesday evening, everybody. This is your sports host, Kendrick Henderson, and you watching the TFG Sports Show, the best 30 minutes of sports show on social media. I am your sports host again, Kendrick Henderson, and to my right is my fam, my brother from another mother, Antoine Banks, joining me tonight. How you doing, brother?
Hey, what's happening, everybody?
You all right?
Yeah, can you hear
You
me?
good today? Yeah, I can
Yes,
hear you.
sir.
You got it?
Okay.
All right, good. Yeah.
Everything's good, man. Shoot, how's everybody out there?
Well, hopefully everybody's tuning in. Before we get started, we're going to ask everybody to come in, make a comment. Make sure you hit that like, share it to your social media platforms. Hey, Britannica Lynn. Hey, Big Sis. Thanks for tuning in. Again, this is TFG Sports Media, best sports show on social media, 30 minutes. And we're going to give you the hot takes with giving it to you straight with no chasers. So we're going to jump right into this thing. We may have another guest. We're waiting on him to join, but we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to start with our NFL recap wild card weekend. Obviously, that's what everybody's talking about. We had really the only game that was pretty there's two competitive games. The Raiders and Bengals was pretty competitive, and obviously we got to talk about them Cowboys and those 49ers. That's what we're going to talk about. First, got to talk about them. Hey, Candy Shop. Hey, cousin. Thanks for joining us, Candace. There was some controversy at the end of this Cowboys 49ers game. Obviously, the Cowboys lost to 23-17. And the quarterback draw play call at the end. Dak wasn't able to get the ball spiked because the referee has to position the ball in pro football before you can move forward with a play. What's going on, Rashawn? Thanks for joining us. So that's kind of been one of the biggest controversies. But at the end of the day, that didn't lose the game for the Cowboys. The Cowboys had 14 penalties for 89 yards. They didn't take advantage of situations where they could move the ball. They couldn't run the football at all. And they let the 49ers get out front, and they couldn't catch up. What was your opinion on this Cowboys 49ers game?
Well, it seems to me we went back 3 to 4 years. I mean, because it looked like the same old Cowboys with Jason Garrett. The offense looked stagnant. Typical, the offense is still Jason Garrett's offense. I feel like early on in the season, everybody got a little bit, everybody was uptight, about how the Cowboys leading the league in yards and scoring and whatnot. And of course, you had Boy Wonder, which is a protege of Jason Garrett. He looked like okay, now he's the next best thing. But if you watch closely, what I'm seeing and the problem is same thing like you say, penalties, self-inflicted. False starts, holding, offsides and whatnot. No creativity on offense, nobody in motion. You got the same wide receivers running the same routes. You say offensive line is older, can't block. Zeke on a bum leg. Coaching, like I say, Mark McCarthy, he looked lost, at certain points. It finally caught up with him from the regular season. So it'll be interesting to see what the Cowboys do with Jerry. I mean, I'm kind of leaning after watching, hearing a little bit of sports talk today. If he allows Dan Quinn to take over and they actually move McCarthy up out of there. So, that's the next thing I think everybody's waiting to see.
Yeah, and that's been the big talk too. Where Dan Quinn had like 4 interviews this week. I know he's interviewing with the Broncos and a couple of other teams. So that's going to be interesting to see on that. This game, again, I'm not a Cowboy hater, but I like poking fun at Cowboy fans. Listen, it's always the same old thing with this team. What's up, Real Estate Insider? Thanks for joining us. I know how this movie ends every year with the Cowboys. I've watched it since 1995. What's going on, baby bro? Second son. Thanks for joining us. We know how this movie ends, and until they get some discipline. Listen, Randy Gregory needs to be disciplined for how do you keep lining up in the neutral zone every game? How do you keep doing that? I don't understand. That's not, you're not mentally disciplined. And I don't
Right.
put that on coaching. I put that on player discipline. Until this team gets more discipline, all these pre-snap penalties, it's going to be the same thing every year with the Cowboys. They're going to do fine. They're going to probably win the NFC East because they talented. But when it comes down to winning a big game, they ain't got the mentality to do it.
No, not at all. And like I say, I think, like I say, I mean, once again, hate to keep re-harping on that, I mean, but you go back to what these guys ready, and same thing. If the Cowboys can't get out there in front run and allow their defense, to pin their ears back, then of course, like I say, now the defense. I think they did a heck of a job on Sunday. Once again, I just feel like I say, the offense when they did make a play, offensive holding, false start just puts you in bad predicaments. I think Dak held the ball a little bit. I don't think he was able to see the field as clearly because Romo was calling out a lot of open guys that Dak was missing. So, and once again, I mean, I can see you had if you got your man kind of with the last few weeks, he was kind of aggravated in the receiver.
Amari Cooper. Yeah, Cooper was
So
aggravated.
so him being aggravated, not getting involved once again, and I can see that other number 88 is going to be another Dez Bryant situation, to where, like I say, with the talent they have, I just don't see how any defense could be able to shut down this offense for 4 quarters. And once again, I feel like it was play calling. Like I said, the coaches, I feel like after all them inflicted wounds, I didn't see anybody with no passion. They just ran out there like they were just okay with what was going on. And once again, I just feel like, if Cowboy fan, I'm a fan, but I'm a throwback fan. I still like, I'll watch them, but I'm not caught up like a lot of these folk that's, crying and, so they distraught.
Right. Like Shantae Gibson, she said it's a sad day. It's okay, Shantae. As you Cowboy fans always say, it's always next year. So again, the Cowboys.
I thought this year was going. I thought they were going to make. I mean, and I think there was a little bit because I felt like Garoppolo played a decent ball game.
Yeah, he was decent. He was decent.
Yeah, and I mean, Debo Samuel, he's a heck of a cat, but you know what I'm saying.
He's
but I think he didn't do nothing then, especially when Boza went out. I felt like, okay, well that's going to help the offensive line. But once again, you had between Tyron Smith, I think it's time to let him go. And Lyle Collins, and then you got the other young cat. I mean, like you say, man, they just need to clean it up.
Shantae Gibson said, "I'm not crying. I'm just disappointed. We had the talent, and you're right. You guys got the talent. I agree, Shantae. The Cowboys are one of the most talented teams in the league. But until you get disciplined and focus and quit all these stupid penalties, man, you're not going to be able to win games like that. So again, Cowboys lose 23-17. That 49ers move on. They go to Lambeau Field next Saturday.
That's gonna be a good one.
Bay Packers, and we're gonna see what happens there because it's gonna be cold. Garoppolo has a shoulder injury, and he still has a hand injury. So we're gonna see how they play at Lambeau. Now another game, real quick. Buffalo beat the snot out of New England, 47-17. Josh Allen was 21 for 25, 308 yards, 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. That's a Buffalo Bills playoff record. The Bills defense intercepted Patriots rookie quarterback Mac Jones twice. And this is the largest defeat in the playoffs for New England in Coach Bill Belichick's tenure. Began in 2000. So there you have it. Bills, they move on. They beat the crap out of New England. Tampa Bay, the Rams, as we saw last night, beat the Cardinals 31-11. The Rams will go to Tampa Bay next. I believe that is next Saturday as well. And as well, who else we got? The Bengals. The Bengals go to the Titans. So here's the divisional round matchups now. We got the Bengals at Titans next Saturday. We got the 49ers at the Packers next Saturday at 7:15 on Fox. And on Sunday, we got the Bills at the Chiefs at 5:30 p.m. on CBS. And Sunday, we got the Rams at the Buccaneers, 2 p.m. on NBC. So that's our NFL recap wildcard weekend. We got our divisional playoffs coming up this weekend, so we got more football to go. And joining us now is my man, Kennard Stewart, Vernon Speaks Sports on YouTube. What's going on, fam? Glad you joined us.
Oh, yeah, definitely glad to be here tonight talking about some little bit of NFL football, a little bit out of my element, but still some interesting things going on. As I can see, the Cowboys are out, the 49
Yeah.
in, and now you have the divisional round of NFL football about to. So we'll see what happens.
Right. Rashawn Grant says, I feel better about the champion Cowboys now that New England lost. I'm sure you do, Rashawn. Shantae Gibson says, I kid, but rooting for my other team now. Who they? The Bengals. Oh, okay, Shantae, you read for the Bengals. That's all right.
And that's a sleeper, man. I think they're gonna get Tennessee a run for their money.
Yeah. Then my man Charles Moore, the resident 49ers fan, has showed up in the chat here to talk his ish. Yeah, you can talk your ish, because guess what? Y'all coming to Lambeau, so you better have your popcorn ready and see what you got. Go 49ers, but good game by the 49ers. Now, let's move on to NFL head coaches being canned. We got a bunch of openings in the NFL. We got teams looking for new head coaches. We got Miami, Jacksonville, Houston, the Giants, Chicago, Minnesota, Denver, and the LA Raiders. And we got a candidate that came out of nowhere that interviewed for the Houston Texans job, Hines Ward. Hines Ward has interviewed for the head coaching position in Houston. All right, guys, y'all tell me about all these head coaches, these jobs open. First of all, what team you think is the most attractive for a head coach? I'm going to start with you, Antoine.
Most attractive right now, well, I would like to see Chicago. And I would like to see Brian Flores, interview and get that job in Chicago, because I feel like he would be a great help to that young quarterback there in Chicago, because I think that team is already set up defensively, because, I think he's a good defensive-minded coach. With they get the young guy a little bit more talent on offense and play to his strengths. I think Chicago could be a good landing job, and I think Brian Flores could do a heck of a job there. Either him or my man Bellamy in Kansas City.
Yeah, the enemy. Got you. Kennard, out of those teams I named, which one? I know you more college, but you follow a little NFL. Which of those jobs you think are the most attractive or has the most potential for a coach to come in and be successful?
Well, I think I really don't have an answer for that. But what I do have is an answer for, I hope this is an opportunity for some of our minority coaches to plug themselves into these higher roles, because if you think about it, for the most part, minorities are the footstools of the league. We're
70%.
Yeah, we're the ones that's actually running the football. We're the ones that years from now, you're going to find out, even after maybe only about a 5 or 6 year career, years from now, you're going to find out that these guys have some serious mental issues, some serious CTE issues, things like that. But the coaches on the sidelines that are directing traffic, they're not the ones having to deal with that. They get to see the back and forth, the overturn of these things happen as they still financially benefit. And I think this is an excellent opportunity. If the league looks at this the right way, if the brothers have put themselves in a position to take on.
Yeah, you froze on us, bro. Yeah, Kennard froze on us.
Yeah, he makes a good point.
Yeah,
I think.
Good point though. By minority hirings. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, with so many openings right now, and I mean with the rotation of a lot of these coaches that showed us what they cannot do. Now it's not about what they can do. Yeah, we already see what you cannot do. You're trying to plug a circle into a square peg, and like I said, you got to give these other guys, some opportunities. Of course, everybody look for the McVays and all these young gurus, but I'm thinking like, come on now, you got a lot of smart minority coaches or black coaches as well that know the game, that played the game, and I feel like it'd be successful. But you always give them the most unsuccessful route.
Yeah, situation. You put them in a bad situation. Yeah. Exactly. And the thing is, the hot commodity, everybody's been talking about the hot shot, Kellen Moore, offensive guru. No. But what about Eric Bieniemy in Kansas City, who's been there and has directed one of the top 5 ranked offenses the last 5 or 6 years, but you never hear his name being mentioned as a top candidate.
Also, my man down there in Tampa, you got to give both of them cats some credit.
Yeah, Todd, the defensive coordinator Todd Bowles and Byron Leftwich, who's already interviewed for the Jacksonville job. So
Right.
we got some. We just hope, like you said, Kennard. Just don't feed us this Rooney Rule, because that Rooney Rule really is nothing but it's just it's like a affirmative action type thing where
Exactly.
you mandatorily have to interview a minority for a head coaching job and an executive position. But that's all you got to do is interview them. You don't have to take them seriously. So I mean, the NFL,
that's it.
Yeah, right. The NFL has to do better with that, as you said, Kennard. But finish your thought. You had froze, Kennard.
You see the same thing even in college football. You have these assistant coaches making $500,000+ a year, and a lot of them are not minorities. But you can't tell me that these minorities who have played the game, who know the culture, who know the scope of recruiting in college football, you can't tell me that they can't, even if they're not successful at the next level. Because I'll tell you like this, in any position, what gets you there might not keep you there.
Right.
But give them a chance.
Right. You give everybody else a chance. How the hell Adam Gase gets another job after being fired from Miami, and he gets hired to Jets like within 8 months? Come on.
And that's what, and not to get into a racial or cultural thing, but that's what happens when you don't own your own shit.
Bam! You just hit the nail on the head right there. There you have it.
You have these what we call quote unquote unfair situations, when at the end of the day it kind of is fair, because when you hold the cards, you can do whatever the hell you want.
You can do whatever you want.
That's true.
Right.
That's true. You're right. That's facts. Hey, y'all heard Vernon Speak Sports say, hey, until we start owning some us as minorities, we start owning some sports franchises, we really can't get mad if we got to play the game they got.
What I would like to see,
if you think about it, if you were in a position of superiority and it came down to say you giving your boneheaded ass son the position that he ain't really qualified for.
right.
But
nepotism.
You have no qualified person that quote unquote deserves a job. You're gonna give the job to your son and let your son benefit from the knowledge of the person that's more qualified but in a more subordinate position. Right. And that's just what it is. And until we adopt the mindset that we either own it or we feel like we deserve, or we push the envelope a little bit harder, then we're going to keep begging for stuff.
Well, to piggyback for that, kinfolk, I feel like we hold the envelope. You know what I'm saying? We the mail carrier, and not just on the top end, but I feel like as players, because money, you know what I'm saying, money make the world go round now. These players all took a stand, even way back in that Kaepernick situation, even if it's just for one weekend. Just don't show up and see how much money these guys lose, and see how much of a voice you really have.
Yes,
right. Yeah, that's facts. That's facts.
Yeah. We kind of on some Martin Luther King stuff, but you remember?
Hey, granted, and his holiday was yesterday, so hey, it fits.
You think about it. The bus boycott back in 1955, African Americans made a stand and said, "Hey, look, if you're gonna do us like this, we ain't coming. We're not patronizing your stuff. So we're gonna show you how valuable you are." So that's an excellent point. I think something that happen more often.
Yeah, you know what's that? What's
to take a weekend off?
Right, exactly. hey, I believe every one of them could afford to lose one game check. Now, come on, just one game check, So, hey, there we got it, guys. Hey, I'm gonna keep you posted on these NFL coaches. We're gonna see. I'm rooting for my man Eric Bieniemy to come out and get a good job, because he deserves a shot. Now, let's move. Let's stay with the NFL. We're gonna stay with a Hall of Famer, Jerry Rice. NFL Hall of Famer Jerry Rice spoke to Sports Illustrated and said that he think he's now interested in coaching. Why? Because of Coach Prime Time Deion Sanders, what he's doing down there at Jackson State. Kennard, let me get your thoughts on this. You think Jerry could be a pretty good coach? You think he could do it?
I think Jerry could be a good an okay coach. I don't think Jerry Rice has the cultural influence that Coach Prime has. And for that reason, I don't think he will be even close to as successful, because I don't think he has if he does have the financial resources, I don't think he has the the influence, because there's a difference between being an NFL player and being able to have the resources and the money. Mm-hmm. But Prime has influence. The young kids can look at Prime and say, you know what? He was doing it big like I want to do it back in the day. He can show me how to do this thing. And also, he has the resources. He's able to pull guys in and bring things to another level. And see, with Jerry Rice, he's too soft spoken. I just don't think.
You had Eddie George as well, though.
We're gonna talk about that. Lamar Fox says a receiver coach, maybe.
I understand where these brothers are coming from, but they ain't Prime though.
No. I mean, the only other mouthpiece out there, not to cut you off, fam, but the only other mouthpiece that could, I don't know if Jerry trying to go HBCU or
probably. I believe so. I believe he's want to go HBCU.
Well, on top of that, I mean, there's been a lot of cats that have spoken of. I think the only one that could have to get the gab like Prime Time or Coach Dion would be my man from Baltimore, Ray Lewis.
Ray Lewis, obviously. Yeah, they just had those big personalities, just like you said, Kennard. Jerry, he's more soft spoken. He's not a big personality type guy, but at the end of the day, though, he's a Hall of Fame wide receiver, the best to ever do it. When you walk into a kid's living room and you Jerry Rice. That still speaks, even though you may not have the big personality, your resume speaks for itself. I mean, especially when you influence, you got an HBCU influence behind you. I think that would help him. I'm not saying he could be a great coach. I mean, we still don't know if Dion's a great coach. We know he's a great motivator. We know that. But
he got, see, I think was helping Prime Time the same way it's going to help Jerry Rice is and Eddie George. They got a pipeline to a lot of NFL ball players they can bring in because Prime Time has brought in a lot of NFL players, exactly, and a lot of those black players, which is helping Prime Time now to put an eye on HBCU. So I think that would help Jerry Rice pretty much the same way Prime Time because he's opening up the actual floodgates in order for all this stuff to happen. So with that, I think there are a lot of the black high school athletes that's coming out now. They're starting to take a look at it instead of going to your big SEC schools or your Big Tens and Pac-10s. Now they're starting to look into the HBCU aspect of it, and I think Jerry probably could help in that aspect because he knows a lot of former NFL players that can bring that knowledge.
Right. I also think what I wanted to talk about as it relates to this has absolutely nothing to do for real about the actual sport. But I'm thinking about the social aspect of the difference between going to an HBCU and going to a PWI. I actually started out at Alabama A&M University.
Oh, did you? Okay, yeah. Didn't know that.
Which is obviously historically black.
Right.
And a totally different experience.
I'm sure.
Then I'll be fair with you. From a African American perspective, the only reason why I stayed at Auburn, to be honest, because I was culturally depressed when I transferred. Because it turned out if it wasn't for Tuskegee University down the street, which was a HBCU, and if it wasn't for the experience of pledging Kappa, I would have had to leave because it was
right. Yeah.
So I think once guys start to see, hey, I can have a good cultural experience and have an opportunity to make the NFL, hell, the HBCUs don't look too bad.
Right. Not anymore. Yeah, it's coming. Yeah, Prime Time has put a lot on that avenue, man. He's getting those guys to come look.
Right. Alabama, Alcorn. It's really not that bad.
Yeah, Shantae Gibson says, I wouldn't trade my HBCU experience for anything. Which HBCU did you go to, Shantae? Put it in the comment section. So there you have it, Coach Jerry. Well, I'm getting ahead of myself. He ain't coach yet. He's still Hall of Fame wide receiver Jerry Rice. He said he's thinking about getting into coaching. So we'll keep our eyes on that. Now let's move on to some NBA basketball. I ain't talking NBA basketball all season because normally I wait till around the All-Star break to really start talking NBA. But I had to talk about the LA. Are they the LA Lakers or the LA Fakers? That's a question I want to ask my panel. Now, they got a win last night. I actually sat back and watched them. They beat Utah. Utah shot horribly, but they pulled off a win. The Lakers played with a lot of energy that they were missing the other night when they got beat by 37 in Denver. But the Lakers did win. They even their record at 22-22. We in the middle of the season. They 12 and a half games back of the first place Phoenix in the Pacific Division. Magic ripped the Lakers. Magic ripped them after they lost to Denver. He said that they should be ashamed of themselves. No energy. Jenny Buss should want to do better for her and the organization, this and that. I'm gonna talk to the resident Laker fan first, because I'm gonna tell you this guy in the middle. He's been a diehard Laker fan since the 80s. So he's purple and gold. Are they the LA Lakers or the LA Fakers, fam? Tell me, Antoine.
They are the Fakers. Yeah, I'm gonna be true with it. I'm not one of them fans that's gonna be like, no, give them a chance. Them boys, I don't think they're gonna make the playoffs. Honestly speaking, because I mean the team just don't go together. It's a lot of things I feel like that people don't speak on. I mean, nothing against LeBron James, the man, but LeBron James, the player. I'm not a big fan of him. Taking away nothing from his game, but name me one player since LeBron James has been with the Lakers that's still with the Lakers from day one since he's been there.
He got rid of all of them, didn't he? Pretty much. They all gone.
The Lakers have been playing with a new squad every single year. So how can you get any continuity when you got a new ball club every single year?
You're right.
And it seems to me like anybody that plays with LeBron that is a superstar, your game goes back about 5 steps. And that we can take that all the way back from playing with D-Wade. D-Wade, that was his roster in Miami. After that midseason first year that he played with LeBron James, D-Wade game had totally disappeared, in addition to Chris Bosh. Then you go to Cleveland and you bring in, not saying my man from Minnesota was, it wasn't all that, but my man was putting up 20 and 10. Now he gets to play with LeBron. Now he's barely averaging 10 and 5. The only man that didn't take a back seat because he had that Kobe mentality was my man Kyrie Irving.
Yeah.
And so
that's why they didn't mix too well.
Exactly. So with that, I mean, I feel like LeBron, you just can't compete for a championship when you got a new ball club every single year. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah. Kennard, are they the LA Lakers or the LA Fakers?
Well, any team that excuse me, any team, and I'm going to say this in the most polite way possible.
No, don't say it polite. This sports show. Say it like you want to say it.
Any team that LeBron James is on is going to have some freaking problems. I think LeBron James, although very talented, LeBron James is a blessing and a curse simultaneously in a very toxic kind of way. It's like he's nicely toxic. Like he's
that's an oxymoron, but I get it. Yeah.
He's not like Dennis Rodman or people who are obviously toxic, but he's that behind the scene toxic to where he's willing to sabotage the whole deal if he doesn't get his way. Now, here's what I don't like about LeBron, and here's what I don't think people are taking enough into account, is the fact that LeBron is the best player in the league when things are going his way. How many times? I wish we could do a stat. I really wish we could do a stat and say, what is your point average in the fourth quarter with 10 minutes left in the goddamn game? And I bet you he won't go over 15 points because he is a no-call, no-show when the game is on the line. What saved his career actually was a couple of years ago. He happened to hit a game winner in the playoffs, but that shit was luck. I don't like LeBron James.
Man, my fam Kennard just told it like it was. Oh my God!
I tried to keep it 100.
Hey, Vernon.
You know what? When Michael Jordan, if it came down to it, Michael Jordan, if the game is on the line, Michael Jordan says, "I want the ball."
Yeah. Kobe
LeBron
too. Yeah, you right. Killers. Yeah, they killers.
He's gonna throw that. He's gonna throw that thing to Kyrie Irving. He's gonna throw it to Dwayne Wade, And guess what? We gonna King LeBron his ass because he averaged 29 of the most meaningless points in NBA history. What is your points per average in the fourth quarter when the game is on the line? I
Well,
bet
what
you
is
six.
it against top-notch competition? Because right now, my man spoke on it. He's playing against a bunch of kids to me, man. So in his prime, when he was going up against the real deal, when Boston broke his back before he had to go run and team up with D-Wade and those guys, when the
Right.
NBA was still considered good basketball, I mean, my man hadn't accomplished a thing, But now, after the game has changed, it allowed him to prolong his career and so forth and so forth. And they put it, like you say, they put up that, oh, he's scoring 29, 8 and 8. Well, come on, man, y'all playing Rucker League. I mean, nobody's playing, man. You playing against a bunch of kids that, like they said, they look at him now as all of them are his little brothers. Well, right now,
Yeah,
your little
right.
brother, they tear your ass up because they run you off the floor because you
Right.
can't keep up with them cats, man. Them little
Yeah,
young boys, they not afraid
yeah.
of LeBron.
And,
And,
and Shantae Gibson says, I like him as a person, but as a ball player, I'll pass. That's Shantae talking
yep.
about LeBron.
And Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson and those players, they didn't give a damn about that little brother stuff.
No.
No. Right.
Because
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to look at a little brother, big brother situation, the closest thing you could get to maybe in recent history is Kobe Bryant and Michael.
And Mike. Yeah, pretty much.
But Michael Jordan still showed his ass the door when it was time.
Yeah.
Like, I
Mike
love you,
didn't
bro, but
Mike didn't let him all it. He
I
didn't
love
let him
you,
all
but
the way in.
I'm still gonna get at that ass on the court.
Yeah.
And LeBron want to bring everybody close. He likes everybody to be his friend. He don't like
No,
to play that villain.
that's why
Right.
he's not a good leader in the sports realm, in my opinion.
All right, guys, we got to wrap this one up. I'm just going to ask this one question. Where the Lakers make the playoffs? Twan?
No.
Yes. Okay. Kanar, will the
No.
Lakers make the playoffs?
How?
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, you 12 games behind already with no sign of any.
Well, they're the 7th seed right now, so they will technically make it right now. Okay.
I mean, if
they do got. I mean, Anthony Davis come back, and they got some ball players that can come back. But once again, man, even with that Anthony Davis, I mean, you don't show me nothing. I mean, you stand out there on the 3-point line. You got, even like I say, man, you got Russell Westbrook. Not saying Russell does his thing, but how do Russell go from putting in work everywhere he's been? Now you get with LeBron, you ain't played for 40 games. This man totally lost on the court.
You don't want to do it because you on a team that you're in not a team, but you're in a situation that sucks. That's what happened.
Britannica Lynn, right. Britannica Lynn says off court he seems like a cool guy, but on court I agree with you, cuz talking about LeBron.
I'm sorry, man. I got on this because
you good. All right, Twan, get your last comment on Frank Vogel, then we're gonna get the final thoughts.
And all I say is, once again, the coach is always on the hot seat when it comes to LeBron. It don't matter, like I said, as soon as they go on the loser streak, the coach is always like, nah, they taking it by game situation. And of course, like I say, man, that all stems back to LeBron to say, no, I had nothing to do with it. But come on now, we all know what it is.
Right. All right, guys, that's a wrap on LA Lakers or LA Fakers. Right now, we saying they're the LA Fakers, so we'll see if they're making.
I'm a diehard. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, I know you purple. I know you bleed purple and gold, but you telling it like it T.I. is, and I get it. I'm with it. So we down to our final thoughts, my brothers. Man, what a good show, man. This 30 minutes flew by fast, but anyway, Vernon, we're gonna start with you. Your final thoughts, my brother.
I'm gonna say this, man. I've enjoyed being on the show with Kenny and Antoine.
What's up, brother?
Yes, sir. It's a family thing. Yeah.
So I'll say this: anytime LeBron James is in the conversation, I'm not gonna have too much nice to say. I like the brother overall, but I just think he's a toxic mix for the LA Lakers, and even if they do make the playoffs, it's just not gonna end well there or for any of the players involved. Now, the coaches in the NFL, I really want to see these brothers take advantage of these jobs because it puts it gives even the players an opportunity to say, I don't have to play 20 years to be successful. I have an opportunity where I can use my brain and actually coach. So I hope that I hope this opportunity can be used to do that. And also, I want to wish you brothers a happy new year. You brothers look good. I really appreciate having the opportunity to be in the midst of you guys and be able to, thank you for letting me be myself. That's all.
You know how it is, fam. Hey, before we get, fam, tell them where they can find you, where to subscribe to your channel.
Okay, so I talk about Auburn football. I went to college at Auburn. I talk about Auburn football pretty much every single day. You can find me at Vernon Speaks Sports Auburn. Down in the Deep South, the battle cry. Well, college football is king, but of course, the battle cry is War Eagle.
Already, I love when he said that War Eagle. I got you, cuz. All right, little bro. Antoine, tell me what you got. Your final thoughts.
Same there, man. I mean, it's a privilege to be on with Vernon, man. I follow you on your sports channel as well. Me and Big Bro, you know what I'm saying, we've done a few telecasts, so getting a little bit more comfortable. But to see you, Vernon, like I say, shoot, this is a pleasure to probably, you know what I'm saying, be on the show at the same time once again. I know I didn't get to tell any of you guys Happy New Year, but once again, like my man say, Happy New Year to both you guys as well. Like you said, both you guys are doing big things, man. I love both your podcasts and your sports, network as well. But I'm gonna tell you, like I told you before the championship series started, who did I call that was gonna win the national championship? Kenny.
You said Georgia.
Yeah. So I know I missed you last weekend.
Right.
I got caught up, but I said I don't know if he gonna remember, but before it even jumped off, I said Georgia. Georgia was gonna win it all. And of course, my man, I know your battle cry is War Eagle. I didn't go to school down there at Bama, but I mean I had to respectfully. This was you know what I'm saying, go against you. I'm about to go ahead and tell it, hey, roll tide, my brother. So you know
oh man, you too crazy.
If you're gonna jump ship, you might as well jump to a good ship. So I mean,
no doubt.
My final thoughts tonight, man. Glad both of my brothers can come on with where you can talk sports, chop it up. You're not gonna get this type of sports talk nowhere else on social media. We're gonna give it to you straight with no chases. My final thoughts is about the NFL and head coaches. NFL is made up of 70% black players, and right now we only have one black head coach. That's Mike Tomlin. That's been with one team for 15 years. So you got 32 teams. 70% of the league is black, but you only got one black head coach, and you only got like 3 NFL executives that are minorities. So NFL, if you're listening, you got to do a better job of hiring. Just Rooney Rule, cut it out. That's not helping the situation. Hiring the most qualified, and it's some qualified black men that can coach and that can run a football team as well. So those are my final thoughts. I want to say thank you to my brother from my other mother, Antoine Banks, my fam, my kinfolk from Auburn, War Eagle. And before I get out here, I gotta say today is my brother from my other mother who's no longer here on this earth. Today, his birthday. He would have been 54 years old. I know he's looking down and he's rooting for them Packers because them Packers gonna bring home another chip, Larry. And the Bucks won the chip too. So Milltown doing big things. I just want to say happy born day to my late, great, my first cousin, my brother, Larry Walker. And again, this has been your sports guy, Kendrick with TFG Sports Media. Catch me here every Tuesday night at 6:30 p.m. That's Antoine, my bro. That's my bro, Vernon. We'll talk to you guys next Tuesday. We out. Peace.
All right, brother. Happy.
That money clip us now, the new now looks like, whoa. Upgrade her diamonds, now her girlfriends are like, whoa, 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 whoa. I hit record it, drop, you can't ignore it. I'm transforming.